I'd like to introduce Zora, who's originally from the Slovakia. She's now in Trinidad, Tobago in the Caribbean region. Welcome, Zora.
Thank you. Well, hello.
Could you tell us when you first noticed your MS symptoms?
In 1980, 81, after my last daughter was born, when she was about 6 months old, that will be just around 81.
And what symptoms were you noticing at that time?
I started having lower back pains, excruciating pains. Couldn't get off the bed, and I went to doctors, and they found that I have a womb infection. It was treated, and then the pain continued, and the doctor said it has nothing to do with any gynecological things, that it is bones. I went from doctor to doctor. Some doctor said that I am hyperactive imaginary housewife who needs some other attraction. People looked at me, I was drunk. Another person told me I have arthritis. Actually, even a doctor told me I have arthritis. And so it went for a little while till in 1983 I managed to get to London to, at Queen Square, the new hospital,
Yes.
neurological hospital, and I went there, and I had the lumbar puncture and everything. All the tests I had to have done. I think I stayed there about 2 weeks or something in a hospital. And they sort of said, I don't know yet, and they said that they will see me in about 3-4 months. I said, okay, but within this time, can I go to visit home, Slovakia? They said, yes, no problem. So I went, and in Slovakia, I managed to get the sciatic nerve inflamed, and it was like a first attack. So I landed up in a hospital. This time it was for more than a month. Again, all the tests had to be done all over. This what upset me with the medical people. They did not accept the results from the London hospital, and I had to do all over all the tests. And I think it is the same thing. If I go anywhere else with the results from Slovakia or Prague, what I have, they don't accept it. I have to do all the tests all over. And then he said in Slovakia it's definite MS. And last thing I can remember, he said, but you will finish in a wheelchair. So I said, what a nice bedside manners.
That made your day.
I mean, in London, I was just a number. I was not a human being. This sort of puts you off even trying to go sometimes to doctors. But I think it had changed since then. They are a little bit more understanding. They know more what it is, because those days they were totally buffered in London. That how come MS has that you have a pain with MS. When I went to Slovakia, everybody had a pain with MS. So at the early stages in the 80s, like in London, a lot of MS people didn't have any. Excuse me, can you stop? Yeah, can you have an interview here? Sorry about that. My grandson just walked in.
Okay.
A lot of people didn't have pain with MS at the beginning. At least it was not reported. I don't know. So in Slovakia, after 1 month, I had to stay about another month or so till he made sure that I have everything all right, that I'm organized as far as the tablets were concerned and so on. So I said to myself, well, all right, I already know what it is. It doesn't make a sense to go back to the hospital in London. Let me go back home. At that time, 1983, my last child was just 2, 3 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I missed them terribly. I have 3 daughters, so I came home. And in Trinidad and Tobago, there was absolutely no, people have no idea what it was. They did not know how to treat it. They did not know anything. So I was basically on my own.
Okay.
And at the beginning, it hit me more cognitively that I completely started forgetting everything. Even dialing telephone number there, those days we had the dials.
Mm-hmm.
So I finished dialing 2 numbers. I don't know what did I dial. I don't know which part of the telephone number I was supposed to continue dialing. There was a situation like children went to school and so on, and all the breakfast dishes were on a table, and I just was crying because I did not know how to start cleaning it up. It was total mental confusion, and trying to remember messages after I put down the phone was very scary because I couldn't remember. So I had to be writing it as people were talking because my husband needed the messages. It was messages, business messages. And that was one part which was bad. And then the fatigue was excruciating. So much so that the washing, I mean, you have little children, so those are little bits and pieces. Try to lift up one little t-shirt was like lifting up a ton and to hanging on a line. So I used to go to bed exhausted, waking up even more exhausted.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just going very fast downhill. Doesn't matter what I was reading, it didn't show, nobody were having this kind of sort of pro, regression or progress or whatever of the disease. So I was wondering. I even asked. I had few doctors friends here, and they said yes, that there is one type which goes so rapidly down. And then 1988, literally I landed in bed. And I was in bed for about 8 years. Couldn't get off the bed. And I even went to Prague to have some steroids injection and Imuran into the spine. Apparently it can help put you on your feet. That didn't help at all. So I don't know how, why, and when it started sort of easing up. And around 96, 97, I managed to get off the bed. A friend of mine came to visit me. She said, Zora, let's go to do some course, evening course. I said, I'm not ready yet. I can't even sit properly in a wheelchair for so many hours. She said, don't worry, you will manage. So I went. That meant I had to stuff myself with the tablets. That day I didn't get off the bed till I was ready to go to school. I did guidance and counseling for 3 years. I liked it very much. Afterwards I tried some voluntary work. It worked for a little while. After that I said this is not my idea like this. So I stayed home. I started doing greeting cards and so on, and finally now in 2009 I started going to school doing graphic design, associate degree, and I'm now in 3rd year. Health-wise, it was still going sort of down the hill. One day I will be a little bit better than the other day, and then suddenly when I started hearing about LDN, I watched one group on Yahoo for about 2 years. I read every single email, because I tried a lot of things beside what I said, right? And every time I got disappointed. And this come and LDN. So I said, this is far-fetched. This is too easy to be true. So I watched and I looked at the emails, read them, and so on. And eventually, after 2 years, I said, you see what? Let me try this. This is not too expensive. I don't need to go anywhere and anything like that. Let me try to organize it with my doctor here, and so on. I got it organized and I started getting it through Miami. I think it was somebody called Steve Pharmacy or something like that. And they were doing the LDN in capsules. So yeah, it was a little bit more expensive. It was something like $40 US per month or something like that at that time. And somehow that didn't work with me. It didn't, I didn't do anything to me. So I said, okay, let me try a heavy LDN tablet, which is 50 milligram, without the fillers and so on. I will dilute it in the filtered water from a fridge, put it in a fridge, and I will use as much as it says, 1.5 or how much milliliters to do. I read it, and so according to that, I doing it. And I'm all on LDN, I think more than 5 years. And there are no fantastic differences, but I don't have any fatigue. I have not heavy hands. I don't feel that if I go, let's say, to the kitchen and I try to cook with the ladies I have here, I wouldn't tell them that I can't do anymore. I will finish the job with them. I will cut their vegetables and so on. What I cannot do, I'll tell them I really cannot do it. And I find I have more energy, right? People have to understand I started LDN when I already had MS for very, very long time. So probably for those people it is not such a fantastic difference. But I feel, because I read somewhere that you do not know what LDN is doing. It might not be showing anything, but it is helping to heal the body. If that is true or not, maybe. I have not the MS did not progress since I started taking LDN.
That's amazing. What about cognitively? Do you find that you've got clarity now of mind?
That one, I worked very hard when it started in 80s. And I worked like I was playing Scrabbles and reading a lot, trying to repeating things, what I read and so on. So that cleared by my hard work. So I did not have that problem when I started LDN. Where I had a problem that I could not do a lot of things. Let's say we are going to cook lunch, right? I will finish it halfway and then I have to say I cannot do it anymore. My hands are too tired. And when you're sitting in a wheelchair and you have to cut vegetables, you have to be more or less in this sort of position cutting, yes, depending on how your table is, which is not very comfortable, and it's pretty hard. So I would not have been able to finish the jobs I wanted to do. But now I can, anytime I say, well, let's go and do this, I will do this part, I will finish the part. So it's not so difficult. Yes, I still can find that sometimes holding a telephone at the angle for some reason is too difficult. So okay, I have headphones as well for that. But other than that, I can read, I can write, I can type. I use a lot of time using the computer. Delicate things like, for instance, when we are designing in a graphic design and so on, take me much longer than the other students, because sometimes I cannot focus the mouse so precisely. It will take me much longer time, but and there, because there is not feelings in the fingers as they should be. Yes, I will be holding needle. If I close my eyes, I don't know that I'm holding a needle. So I must be extremely careful if I'm holding the needle, so I don't drop it and so on. But other than that, I can do quite a lot of things with my hands.
What would you say to other people who are thinking of trying LDN?
I think this is one of the best way to try to see if it will work for you, because it's not expensive. I mean, I have to pay it for myself, right? We do not have such a health system as in London. So I find by all means try it. And I have been talking to some of MS people here in Trinidad. I even try to even share my own tablets with them, and I tell them how to do it and so on. And I said, try it. Both of them whom I gave it to, they said, oh yes, they felt different. They feel better. But I don't know why they are not interested in continuing. Probably it's too much to organize. I even told them I help them organize it, because I know how it is to try to organize when you have MS. It's very difficult. So, we need a lot of help from other able people to help us to live a satisfactory life. There is no doubt in my mind about it, because I am 90% dependent on other people. That little percent, what I do, that is nothing. I cannot get off my bed. I cannot see about myself. I need people around me. But I still can do certain things. I can crochet. I can a little bit embroider. That is a little bit difficult, but if it's a bigger needle, I can a little bit embroider. But crochet is pretty tedious, and I will crochet.
That's very good.
And typing, I'm on a computer sometimes 10 hours a day if I can be. Recently I got iPad because sometimes I want to do some research on internet when I go to bed, and I don't sleep as much as I slept before. So I managed to get iPad so I can do my research, and I love it. Actually yesterday I went, a friend of mine was having a final exams. She's doing bachelor's in education for special children, and one of the things was technology and how the handicapped people use the technology. So I went there, anything what I had, even electric peel, potato peeler I took, and whatever I could grasp in a short notice, because she didn't give me much time. And I went, and I went, was really interesting to see, and I was quite happy to see that certain things are happening even in Trinidad and Tobago, and hopefully that within probably 10-15 years we should have more response, how people are aware about handicapped people and so on.
Well, thank you very much for sharing your story with us, Zora. I really appreciate it.
You are very welcome anytime. If that means that it will help other people, anytime.